Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at my 1998 BMW 525i. We're going to take a look at the details for both the interior and the exterior of the car, the techniques that I've used to design the face of the vehicle, and why I specifically chose this color palette to build my 525i. Stick around because I think you'll enjoy this video. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. If you like this video, please like this video, and please consider subscribing to my channel because that'll be very appreciated. And leave a comment of what you think about this car or any of the previous models that I've built in the past. If you want to build this car yourself, the instructions will be available at my website, needforspeedchampions.com, and check out my Instagram page. Links are down in the description below. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. I did not originally plan to build a BMW sedan in the first place. In fact, I wasn't planning to build any BMW sedans for this year, but the inspiration to build BMW sedans came from one of my favorite builders. Not too long ago, NV CarMux just showcased his BMW 740iL. It's a James Bond sedan that has all the techniques involved, including one special technique where in the rear of the BMW, it releases all these spike pins. After looking at his 740iL model, I was really inspired to build one of my own. As time goes on, those cars become pretty rare to see. It wasn't until I shopped around on Bricklink that I saw a brand new color that came out for the mudguard specifically, the dark tan, and seeing this, I was thrilled. I now have the ability to build not just a BMW sedan, but I have two other models that I'm currently working on, though I haven't showed it to the public just yet. They'll come out in the next few months, hopefully. But with this new colored mudguard, I was now encouraged even more to build my own BMW 525i in that specific color. Rather than building it in dark bluish gray or light bluish gray, yellow, red, I wanted to build something that is like a rare color to be used in all Lego car MOCs. The new mudguard color wasn't the only one that inspired me to build this BMW in this dark tan color. I also had the idea to build it because I know a guy on Instagram who drives a 1998 BMW 525i. He resides in Southern California, San Diego to be more specific. He's an auto mechanic who takes good care of this BMW 525i, and I wanted to surprise him on Christmas. So I went to work designing this BMW 525i model. Let's start off in the back. The back looks very simple to build from your eye's perspective, but it's really difficult to come up with such an intricate level of detail to create the attachment for the tail lights while creating a space for the license plate holder, which is a standard configuration for the American continent. I built another BMW, which is an M5 model, but I won't be showing that here in this video today. The back of the BMW's bumper looks simple, but it has a level of intricate details and inverts and all that stuff. And I can take it off just to show you. We're going to take off the back bumper, but first I'm going to flip the car to its side. So this is the first part, and the second part is going to be this main bumper here. There's what do you call those pieces? 3386 pieces. The newer ones that I use so much. Those are used to hold these taillights in place. For a BMW taillight, they look very simple to build, but I wanted the BMW lights to go toward the car a bit more, toward the front, instead of just having it on the side. So I used this side slope here, which is built and attached using 1x1 round stud with a pin, and then 1x1 round piece with a hole, and just connected it to the inside of this trunk here. You can't really see it because it's all covered up, but I can take it apart just to show you. But it is topped off with the cheese slope on the side just so the taillights can go toward the car at the front instead of just being on the side there. If you want to modify a BMW 525i, simply take this off and you can just have it with the exhaust pipe exposed. I mean, the exhaust pipes to these cars are hidden unless you go under the car and look right near the bumper, and you'll see it it'll just be right there. Now I'll just show you a quick technique that I used to build the sides like I mentioned earlier. And we're going to take that side off and we're going to open the trunk here. But I'll just tilt it up a little bit. Right in this spot, you can see where this technique is used to put this little side piece in place while still leaving me enough room to put this side over here to cover up that little space there right next to the C pillar of the car. You can see the license plate holder. This is the same technique that I've used on my MOC RX-8. I really love using this technique because it actually just gives it the outline of the license plate holding thing. It just makes it easier for you to actually spot it on the back of any Lego model car. Now let's take a quick look at what's underneath this car here. And as you can see, that's not your ordinary chassis base. I wanted to build the chassis base from the ground up this time, and I want to do it for all the cars that I'm going to be building in the future. This is because I want to try to add as much detail as I can underneath the car, giving it some more levels of detail that you could see underneath it. I did not want to build a car and just have it be plain underneath it when you turn the car over. Like most of your die-cast model cars, I want to have the amount of detail underneath my model cars. So rather than using just simple, boring base plates as the main foundations for any cars, I decided to build a chassis base for this BMW, and I want to do that for all the cars that I'm currently building going forward, because I want people to enjoy the amount of detail that goes into the model. Granted, I've been taking shortcuts to avoid all that, but as I got older, I realized how enjoyable that is for me to add some small parts and like into the engine bay, underneath the chassis. Now these cars are not built for children. They're not built to be played around. That's why most of my cars are so fragile in some areas. They're not stable because I sacrifice stability just for the level of detail. And to me personally, I like that challenge, and it just pushes me to just like keep building new cars, keep discovering new challenges and stuff. But yeah, this is the chassis base for the BMW model car that I have right now. Now you can see the engine block right here. You can see these little lightsaber things to use as the pipes going toward the gas tank at the back of the car, and there's the little exhaust pipe right there. Now I didn't use one of your metallic silver round studs just for a fancy suspension spring, because this is an average BMW 525 model and anybody could be driving it, even though these days it's going to be a rare sight to see one. I'm telling you right now, I haven't seen a lot of these cars on my from where I live. There's not a lot of these cars around. Yeah, I see a lot of pickup trucks, but not a lot of these cars. Now let's take a look at the side of the car. The side of the car is pretty simple. The door here is very basic, to say the least. Reddish brown hands as door handles. I don't know if those are the real. I don't know if that's the real color on the door handles in the actual car. But now in this car, when I turn this car forward like this, you'll see a steering wheel just right there, and you will see a shift stick. Again, that is a minifig hand that I've used as a shift stick. I mean, I just love the idea of using a shift stick and the what do you call it, the gear shifter stick. That's what I'm starting to add into all of my cars going forward, because it just, I don't know, it just looks really nice to have it there. And of course you have a little transmission shifter stick right there in between the center console and the dashboard. And the level of detail into the interior, like the seats and stuff, this is what brought the car out entirely, in my opinion. You can fit 2 minifigs. I haven't tested it out, but I think you can fit 4, maybe, if that's possible, but you can only fit 2 minifigs into the car. Important detail that I would like to point out is this little piece right here. This is the only piece that is holding both doors on both sides in place. You just put it up against the side of the car and push it in, and it just holds it in place. Nothing more to it. It just holds itself in place. The only way it's going to come off is if you just push on it too hard, and it'll just like that, and it'll just come right off. So yeah, it's sturdy to some degree, but yeah, it just holds itself in place. On each side of the door, you see a new technique that I've used to place my mirrors on the side. Instead of using a whole slope going up and then using a bracket to put the mirrors on it with a clip, holding the mirrors in place, I just decided to use a wedge slope, so that way the mirrors can cut right through that wedge slope, and it'll just be in place right there, right next to the windscreen. Most of your sedans have mirrors that are close to the windshield of the car, to the A pillars. So mirrors that are this close to the A pillars of the car, I want to use this technique going forward. Having the mirror in front of the windscreen and having it on the door, it just doesn't look appropriate for a sedan like this, at least in my opinion. These are made by Brickthebrick He does an excellent job with creating these custom wheels. Now, initially I thought these wheels were used on NV Carmox's BMW 525i model, the James Bond car model that he's built. They turned out to be a different type of wheel rims, but I still want to include his car in the video because that's the inspiration that got me started with building the BMW 525i in the first place. But shout out to Brickthebrick for creating these awesome wheels. They look absolutely amazing. Also, I have a thought while this is in my mind. Once the instructions come out, you can buy this car in a specific color, but you can also change the color palette. Like the parts list is going to be free. You can get the parts list to see what parts you have in your collection or how many parts you need to order before you decide to get any instructions from my website. And this could be helpful for a lot of people because when you get the parts list, if you have a specific car that your family owns, the parts list will be beneficial to everybody because it gives them a chance to change up the color palette to the color of the car that they have or have had in the past. There's a young guy on Instagram who's from Russia, and he told me that his father owned one of these 525i vehicles. So yeah, a parts list for free, it will be helpful for everybody because if you want to build your own car that your parents had or that the one that you have, you can just change the color palette on the parts list and you can just build one in a different color. So yeah. Another thing I would like to point out in the back here is that these tiles are slanted up. That's because the C-pillars in the back go deep into the trunk of the car and it just tilts all the plates up. That's because I want to leave a bit of room for the roof and the slopes to come together smoothly. So yeah, I had to tilt these up unfortunately, and this window's kind of loose, but at least it's still holding itself in place. So yeah, just wanted to point this out because if you try to press down on this, this will go down and then your roof line would not be aligned with the C-pillars. So yeah, it's unfortunate that it's the way it is, but I'm happy with the way it turned out. So with that being said, let's move on to the front. But before we do, if you guys also want to get custom rims for your BMW 525i or custom rims for any model for that matter, the Brickthebrick's website will be linked down in the description below. Go check him out. He's really awesome with creating custom wheels. I'm not saying everybody that creates custom wheels are bad at what they do. I think everybody has a different taste at how they want to customize their rims and stuff. But I specifically chose Brickthebrick because, you know, he does an excellent job with these, and I'm really happy with how he did them. So yeah, go check him out, show him some support, show him some love. And with that, we're moving on to the front. First, I'm going to show you what's under the bonnet here, or under the hood as we say in North America, but saying the bonnet to me is more appropriate for any car basically. So under the hood or the bonnet, we have a great looking engine detail in the front of the car here. You can see the bar clips and the 1x1 round parts with bars on the side that is used to hold these vents in place. Now these were cut down. I used a rigid hose piece to trim the hose down to its size to give it a bit more extra detail into the engine bay. But yeah, I forgot what kind of engine these cars carry, but it's similar to what you see on the real thing. Now let's take this face apart. First, to take it off, you have to raise two of these grill pieces up out of the way, and then you can just pull it off from the front part of the car. So as you can see, there's a lot of hidden techniques that I've used to assemble the face of the car. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm happy with the way it is. There's a couple of hoses right here in the back. This rigid hose, I cut it down to its size, and I cut it down to where if you connect it to this little bracket down here, it'll just lock this whole face part in place, and it's not going to go anywhere afterwards. The only time it's going to go somewhere is if you just push down on it, or if you just press down on it with your bare hands and it just comes off. That's the only time it'll go. Now, if you take a closer look at the mouth of this face right here, at the mouth part, you see that this is barely connected to 1x2 round plates, and that's because I used, again, the rigid hose, cut it down to its size, and just pushed it in slightly up into the 1x2 round plates, just so I can lock it in place. It's close to the main bumper of the car's face, but it's more accurate when it's like this. And if you can't see that already, 3L bars or something like that. I just found out that these specific bars, I got them from Bricks and Minifix here in my hometown. These come in trans brown, but I just found out that on Bricklink, trans brown bars like these, they're not available. So I ended up using Lightsaber trans clear bars to replace them when making the instructions, which I haven't tested yet, but it should be able to fit underneath here, and it will stop right here close to the front wheel's axle base, right at the front there. So update, I was doing some tests at the bottom of this right here, and it turns out you can actually use 1x1 round trans clear studs as fog lights at the bottom, because it just gives it a bit more of the headlight definition at the bottom rather than using those bar pieces that I used right here. These worked perfectly well. I will update the instructions to this because these will actually work, so you don't have to use the bars. That means you may also need to use these little clip pieces under here. You can use these little clip pieces as pipes or something. Just use a rigid hose or something to fill in that gap, or you can replace something. You can replace the clip with something else. I don't really care, but just wanted to show you this so that way you can modify it however you want it. Now, there's 1x3 plates, round plates that are used to bend the lights back just a little bit. That's why it's at an angle, or at an awkward angle, because I want the headlights to be a few inches past the front of the front part of the bumper and have it looking like this. So that way it's just not sitting at the front. It's just sitting slightly towards the back, going toward the engine bay. Now you can look at the back and see how the headlights are built to a specific configuration, again using the 3386 module parts. And those things, I tell you what, those things come in handy really well. When you need them, they're there. So, and they're here on the scene and make our cars look as accurate as possible. So I really appreciate Lego for producing those. I had to say that. So to reattach the face of this car, you got to make sure that both of these pieces at the back, these black pieces, are underneath these wedge plates on both sides of the car, and you just slide that in like so. It'll lock it in place. Now there's going to be some gaps here at the top, both at the bottom and at the top, but you can just push those in, and it can only go so far. It'll still have a little bit of a gap right there, but it's enough to cover it. Before I conclude this video, I want to take this time to thank all of you for helping me reach 500 subs. This is a massive milestone so far, and I'm looking forward to reaching another milestone. I want to build cars that everyday people drive. Recently, I've showcased the GMC Yukon Denali, and not too long ago, I've showcased the Cadillac Escalade. And just a while back, I've built a Holden Ute, which I'm planning to rebuild in the future, given that we have new pieces that came out recently. Just to name a few Civ cars that I've built in the past. I want to give everyone a chance to build the car that they drive every single day. And of course, unfortunately, I can't build every single car in the world, but I can at least try to hit the most popular cars that are out there. Now, I will say this, a handful of you guys just tied the votes between the BMW 525i and the Sesto Elemento, but as of the making of this video, it looks like to me you guys want to see the Sesto, I'm sorry, I keep calling it the Sesto Elemento. So yeah, this Lamborghini will be coming out in the next video. I promise you, this time it will be coming out in the next video. They also present a challenge for me to try new things. With new challenges comes with new techniques, and I'm looking forward to giving that a shot. So if you want to see more Civ cars like this BMW 525i 1998 model, again, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. Thank you all for watching this video, and until next time, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, share this video out there, and you guys have a great day.